How does the new, shiny, low model count elite infantry stack up against the old, decrepit, soggy, rotten, disgusting, low model count elite infantry? We're going to find out today as Rider Rohan uncharacteristically takes Vampire Coast into Khorne. And we've got Bloody Reaver Depth Guard here versus the Wrathmongers, Regiment of Renown, the Blood Wake Berserkers. So in for a bloody good time, regardless of who wins. And then Arnessa leading the way here with a Captain of Deeps. Very interesting choices. I'd imagine AoE damage will be the order of the day. No, Fog of the Damned actually, trying to debuff Khorne's melee attack. Khorne does have some units which are immune to this, but I don't think any were brought in this particular battle. We've got some pistol mobs up front, some deckhands, and some shotguns, along with a couple handguns. Yeah, the Bloody Reavers, Scurvy Dogs, and a single Mourngul Haunter. Very interesting build all the way around. A lot of different tools. Nice layers of missiles, though. I've got some Marauder Horsemen of Khorne here, ready to go with their dual hand weapon throwing axes. Some Blood Beasts and Marauders up front with the Bloodwake Berserkers, Valkia up in the sky, and some Chaos Warhounds hidden in the woods over on the far side in a nice tactical reserve. So, let's get things rolling as these two factions advance towards each other. The Lamprey's Revenge gonna open up with their shotguns here. Get a little poke to the Marauders. Nothing crazy effective, but based on the positioning here, it does look like the Marauder Horsemen are going to try and use this slope charge downhill, maybe collapse the flank of some of these weak zombie units. But yeah, the Lamprey's Revenge kind of getting into a bit of a defensive position here. Trying to decide where they want to land in this formation. Bloody Reavers, though, just front and center, ready to go. They understood the assignment, so let's see as they're going to get charged by Blood Beasts here. And the Bloodwake Berserkers. So yeah, not exactly a fair fight. Khorne does have like, almost 3,000 resources here, whereas the Bloody Reaver Depth Guard, they do have their ability to resist the damage, which I don't know if Rider Rohan popped this Enrage on the charge. Could have prevented quite a bit of that charge damage, but they at the very least do wreck the Blood Beasts according to their anti-large roll, and then promptly are getting absolutely slaughtered. So I'm going to see a little bit of Fog of the Damned be unleashed here. A taunt on the Bloodwake Berserkers as well to debuff their armor and melee defense. Then you can see the Bloody Reavers actually turn and fight. The Bloodwake Berserkers actually just kind of nope out of that fight, so not really sure. I guess the Bloody Reavers just stand and kill the Blood Beasts, but taking a look at the rest of the battle here, the Marauder Horsemen, it looks like having a little bit of a tough time on this flank, having some damage done to them by the pistols, and the Lampreys also sitting with their missile attacks. Rider Rohan not overcommitting too much right now, but does have quite a bit of units being smashed by Khorne in various ways. His right flank being dissolved very quickly by the Blood Beasts and Warhounds and whatnot. Valkia getting in against the Mourngul's going to take some pretty serious damage. I mean, Mourngul's anti-infantry. She definitely counts as infantry, so these two characters are, in a way, sort of designed to kill each other. Especially with the Frostbite here and the Hunger, it means that the Mourngul Haunter, while he will be receiving reduced healing due to being on fire, he's able to pin Valkia in here, potentially. It looks like she did screen as he gets distracted there fighting some Warhounds. And the Marauder Horsemen also continuing to try and find a place here, but being traded out very cost effectively. Yeah, they should just charge the handguns here for sure and shut them down. They could evaporate them in seconds with their high weapon damage, anti-infantry, and charge bonus. But nonetheless, we see a big blob developing here in the center. Very advantageous to posts. They can use that Fog of the Damned to good effect. Sword of Khorne being dropped to try and bust up the blob, but ends up doing some pretty good friendly damage to the Bloodwake Berserkers as well, especially since their armor was debuffed by another taunt temporarily. Bloody Reavers trying to hold on to survive. That Hunger for them keeps them regenerating as well, so they'll hopefully be able to hold on here, but there's no healing from Invocation of the Hex, so if they get too low, they can just die to army losses. But right now, this Arnessa is potentially in trouble. I don't know. She does have some interesting splash animations where she can kind of target units all around her, but she actually nets the Bloodwake Berserkers here so that they can't escape from this matchup. Brings in the Mourngul Haunter on a Deadly Onslaught charge for some extra damage. And yeah, the handguns, again, just not being charged down by the Marauder Horsemen for whatever reason. Finally, the Hounds get over there They're able to shut them down, but they've probably already gotten quite a bit of value. Yeah, 600 plus values, definitely probably both paid for themselves. And the Bloody Reavers also managing to hold for the time being. Them plus the Lampreys is a lot. Let's see, we're going to see a Spear Slopnir come through. That does some really good damage, but also does some friendly damage and actually leads to the Bloodwakes and the Marauders getting terror routed there. Mourngul's terror kicking in, and lack of immune psychology once that frenzy's done means even the most elite infantry in the game can get terror routed. Yeah, but let's see. Arnessa continuing to take hits. We're going to see a dive by Valkia to get on her. The Mourngul's still standing strong. Another Fog of the Damned being used here to debuff all the melee attack of the Khorne units. Yeah, 0 melee attack for the Blood Beasts and like the Marauders and whatnot. Definitely good stuff. Haunter can keep things controlled quite well and continue to deal some damage. You can see him slapping at Valkia's wings there in the fog. It's quite the spooky engagement, honestly. With all the bloody, the blue and the red and the fog and the skulls and the blood beasts and all sorts of stuff. Love Warhammer, honestly. That's why we play this game, is because that's pretty cool. Valkia herself gets terror routed away, and the death blob, actually, of the crabs, Bloody Reavers, the Mourngul, Arnessa is able to hold against the forces of Khorne and push back all the new fun stuff. So, yeah, credit to Red Rohan there. Was able to hold and win. The Bloody Reavers ended up surviving that initial engagement. I do think the Bloodwakes maybe should have stayed a little bit more on them, but they do end up paying for themselves, so hard to criticize too much there. I do think the Marauder Horseman throwing axes was one area where the Khorne player definitely fumbled the bag a little bit. Just needed to charge them in and shut down those handgunners a little bit sooner and shut down the shotguns. Get all these missile units off the field, like a pistol unit getting 700 value is just insanely cost effective. So yeah, these key missile units here, he had the tools he needed to shut them down. And like you can see, some of the phase certainly was able to. A lot of these missiles were well limited. The Warhounds definitely got their value just feasting. But yeah, these Marauder Horsemen, yes, they're technically missile cavalry, but you really should be using them more as light melee cavalry with an extra missile attack if you need it. But their high melee stats is something you are paying for and can definitely get good value from. Like in this situation, the Blood Beasts also, a few hundred kills each, don't end up paying for themselves, but I like the pick here nonetheless. I do think you need probably some AP and mass in this matchup, so quite a wide build and definitely a very interesting one. Again, I don't hate all the components, and I actually do like quite a few things, quite a bit, but ultimately the execution just wasn't quite where it needed to be. That being said, definitely a fun one, and yeah, as far as like the sort of elite low model count infantry goes, there's a handful of units now in this class. You could definitely look at Doomseekers for the dwarfs being pretty good. I would say that the Wrathmongers are the best for sure. And then in terms of below that, yeah, so Wrathmongers I would definitely put top, and then I would rank the Doomseekers slightly below them. Then Vampire Coast, you've got Depth Guard, which do have more models. I mean, they're 60s, so it's not like a totally apples-to-apples comparison, but I would definitely say the Depth Guard are better than something like, say, Aspiring Champions, which, other than the Regiment of Renown, are not amazing. I mean, they're definitely a unit that exists, but the Regiment of Renown can be very good, given they have halberds. You know, massive weapon strength with plus 30 bonus versus large, so they hit quite hard against the right targets. But yeah, it's definitely an interesting one. Units in this class, I guess, yeah, 16 unit models only on Aspiring Champs versus 32 for Wrathmongers, and you can see how Wrathmongers are just better all the way around, so it's definitely an interesting comparison. I don't know, should they actually put Aspiring Champions to 32 models, maybe just reduce their weapon strength a little bit, make them more in line with these other units, or would you rather have them be like an even more elite, even fewer in model type unit? I don't know, it's definitely interesting, but regardless, like I said, the Coast, 60 unit models on Depth Guard. There's actually probably other better comparison, like Skull Reapers, for example, also have 60 unit models, but let's not get too bogged down in that today and just enjoy the video. So hopefully you did, and if you did, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification button. Every time I upload a new video, you'll be notified. Thanks again. We'll see you next time.